Hey guys, this is Brandon with Fit Destiny, and this is my story part two. Okay, so where we left off on part one was pretty much I had done my first bodybuilding show. I was 21 years old and overcame all the bullshit with bullying and childhood obesity and got sports and found my connection and found my path to find my way in weightlifting and sports camaraderie and team camaraderie, and it really helped distinguish who I was and make me more confident and make me a better person. But long story short, we remember all that from the first part. I had done my first show. What I missed in the first part was while I was in prep for my first show, I had already become a personal trainer. So from when I first got out of college, from 18 to 20, I worked at GNC, and is when I really first got into the vitamins and the supplements and the herbs and remedies, and really became intrigued with homeopathic care and treating a lot of illnesses and treating a lot of diseases with herbs and Ayurvedic remedies and really cool stuff, to be honest with you, because a lot of these medicines and the pharmacology, and it's a whole big ordeal with making people sicker and treating symptoms instead of causes. And that's a whole nother video though, and we will get into that, believe me, because I'm very passionate and have very strong feelings about that whole subject. But so in my first prep for the show that I did when I was 21, my first show ever, I got an opportunity to work at Goodwill as a personal trainer, working with people with developmental disabilities. So stuff like muscular dystrophy, Down syndrome, uh, severe autism. They basically, these people lived in group homes, and homes where there were 10, 12 of them in a single home, and the care and the stuff that they received from home wasn't didn't make me feel very good. So I grew to love my group. I had a group of 8 that I grew to love every single one of them, and became emotionally attached and made huge progress. And this was the first time that some of these people had ever exercised or have ever done anything active. And I got a sense of it was the first time that they had anyone actually care that much about their progression and about seeing them succeed. So while I was in that program, I was assigned to come up with a nutrition plan, and to come up with a way to teach them in a way for them to learn proper eating and healthy nutritional habits. So that was all done, gave homework to them and taught them and talked to their group and talked to their caregivers. And then the next day, they would come in in their lunch bag for lunch would be a bag of Doritos and a Coke. And that's it. So there was just, it was hard for me and hard for my emotions in my head at the time to care so much about these people that needed so much help, and they needed people to care about them, and they were seeing progression and they loved to see me. It was just very hard. And then what I wasn't told, it was a 12 week job, and what I wasn't told was that at the end of it, that I would just stop working with these people, and I was going to get a whole new group of 8, and they were going to go on to some other program that was part of the funding. So at the end of the day, it was a hard decision, but I was emotionally too attached to my group and the progression and the progress that we had made. And there were a couple of them in specific that was just, I couldn't grasp not to continue working with them. And there was no way for me to do that. The funds weren't there for me to go to their house or to do one-on-one training. And they didn't have the time for me at the Goodwill for me to come in and do something independently. It had to be a whole new group of 8, and it just was these 12-week cycles and different programs that they were putting in. At the end of the day, after doing some research, I'm pretty sure it was just all funding, and every new program that they created, they got another grant, another check from the government, and They just cycled these kids through programs. It was good. It kept them busy. But for me and for someone that really cared about them and cared about the progression and put my heart and soul into it, it was hard to see them leave. So, long story short, that was a big effect on me. It really flipped my perspective in life. It changed everything. It realized that I was taking things for granted and taking my health for granted, and just the ability to work out, the ability to pick up weights, the ability to run and do cardio, and these things that, and the ability to diet and having the choice to eat good food and to mentally be there enough to make those decisions and not rely on someone else to make those decisions for me and then not care and put bad nutrition. So that perspective, that I felt blessed and I felt grateful and I felt lucky after working with them, it changed everything for me. So I stayed in it, stayed in my prep, continued it, crushed my first show, got a ton of great feedback. It was just incredible because I made a huge transformation from where I was 3 years prior. You know, coming out of college, I was 275 and probably 25 to 30% body fat. Very strong, but just overweight and carrying a lot of excess body fat. So after receiving a lot of feedback and positive and optimism and everyone supporting me and everyone pushing me, I rode that high and I was super confident. And over the span of the last two years, from, or no, I guess a year and a half, from a little bit before I was 20 till right after I did the show is when I was personal training. Was training at LA Fitness, which is just a terrible place to train for trainers because they don't pay you anything and whatever. It's just a sales thing, and the trainers don't get paid anything and they do all the work. But I knew I had to pay my dues. I had to build my reputation. I was brand new in the industry. I loved it. I was passionate about it. So I just did whatever I could and I hustled. And I got a ton of clients at LA Fitness. I think my schedule was booked up with 60 clients at the max, working all day for $6 a session. Great. Awesome. But I was focused on my prep and I was focused on building my reputation. And I knew that this was something that I wanted to do. So 2 months after my first show, from the beginning of June and from that whole summer, I decided that I was going to go all in and open the gym and take these 60 clients or so and all the friends that I had and all my friends from high school and everyone that I could conceive would be a member and would sign a membership is what I thought was going to happen. So 2 months, that whole summer, got equipment, gathered together, found a location, jumped in, and then August 1st, 2011 was the grand opening of Fit Destiny, the actual location, the gym. And on the grand opening day, after day one, I had 2 members. My first member was Connie Guzik, who is still with me to this day. Almost 6 years later, she's amazing. A whole nother story that I'll probably tell later on. And another great lady by the name of Candy. So did great with them. Started the classes off. They came in the morning early. Did their classes. They got awesome results. Started telling people. Word spread. Marketed, and did my best. And then 6 months in was when I got hit with my first really big obstacle. I wasn't making it happen. I wasn't pulling in the numbers and pulling in the income to sustain. And those 60 members that, I had in my head that all these people were going to come see me. Well, they were locked into contracts and they couldn't get out of their contracts. And a lot of my friends that I figured would sign up at the gym weren't signing up at the gym. And it was just a big reality check. So 6 months in, I couldn't make it work. And luckily my landlord at the place that I was at gave me the option to head out. He said, if you're having a hard time and you're not making it work, we signed a year lease, but no, it was a 6-month lease, a 6-month option lease. So, but I had the option to get out. So I did. and then it was scramble, 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 and looking at parks and looking at permits, and now I had a group of probably 10 to 12 committed people, um, and I just needed a place for them to go. I had all this equipment bought, I had everything needed to run the gym. I just wasn't pulling in the numbers. Then the universe popped in the location where I'm at now. Drove by, there was a sign, Bays for Rent, called it. First bay right up front, big old window, awesome location. Had the money to make it happen, put it in, went for it. Over the weekend, moved all my equipment into the gym and didn't miss a beat. Boom, kept going. And I've been here at this location ever since. So that's awesome. Anyways, so yeah, that was great. After that, started rolling, started picking up new members, and basically 4 years went by where I'm doing classes. Members are in and out. I'm teaching sports performance. I'm training athletes, high school athletes, training small groups, personal training sessions here and there. My main focus and my main passion at that time, and I had already done my second show, was planning to do a third show, and I was really into the science of nutrition and optimizing and maximizing your physique and getting to super low levels of body fat and just extreme conditioning, and learning about how our body responded to carbohydrates and glycogen consumption and insulin and hormones, and gaining as much knowledge as I could so I could be the best coach that I could be and do it myself and still be able to prep my clients, and learning the difference between females and males and how people respond to carbs, and how literally after prepping countless amount of people, it's true that every body is different. There is no cookie cutter diet. Everyone responds differently to different kinds of foods, and it's just an awesome thing. It's like a science experiment. Each new client that wants to come do a show and do a prep, I still love it. I still have passion for it. It's really like a really cool science experiment with the human body to see how our body responds to certain things, and certain training stimuluses, and certain diets. But so yeah, that was it for 4 years. I got complacent. There wasn't a lot of growth, but I was sustaining. I had my members, I had my following. Still, really no social media. There's just this hang up. I couldn't get past it. I couldn't get past the social media thing. I would go a few days here and there. I would go really good, and then I would be out for a month. And I would post up a special and then not follow up with anybody. It was just self-sabotaging bullshit behavior that I did for a very, very, very long time. Yeah, so then at that point, I'm 4 shows in, training tons of people. I have a ton of transformations that you can actually go and check out on my Instagram, is team_fit destiny, or a Facebook page I'm sure has some. And that's probably just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how many people I've helped transform their bodies and their physiques, and change their lives and change their eating habits. So at the end of 2015, it was just a reality check. I wasn't on top of my finances. I wasn't running my business as a businessman. I wasn't doing what I needed to do to succeed, and I lost perspective of the end goal. I got caught up in day-to-day stuff. I got caught up in my emotions and caught up in reactions and life events. And that year, April of 2015, my best friend, my dog Tank at the time, got hit by a car, and it was a terrible, terrible tragedy, and that hit me hard. And I was out of work. I took a few days off work, and it was hard. So 2015 was a rough year, or that was actually 2016. So at the end of 2015, the big breakthrough was around Christmas time. My money was tight, and I have my niece who I love, and my family, and I had a girlfriend, and I couldn't get anybody any Christmas presents because I wasn't doing what I needed to do and being responsible and on top of my finances, and focusing on the wrong things, and not running my business the way I should be, and having people come and not pay for the gym, and just feeling sorry, and just in a very weird place mentally where I wasn't comfortable having a tough decision about money with my clients, and I wasn't comfortable with contracts. And I thought that if I was too hard, and that if I made people sign contracts, or if I did what I needed to do to succeed for my business, that people would look at me like I was greedy, or that they would look at me like I had my ulterior motives for them to sign a contract or whatever it was. But it's all bullshit. The truth of the matter is, it was just a money mindset thing. I had this lockup of money, and grew up, not poor, not rich, very middle class, still live paycheck to paycheck, able to do nice things on occasion, but still, in the household where I'd leave a light on and my parents would say, "Hey, turn the light off, save a nickel." Um, a penny saved is a penny earned. No, like a penny saved is a penny saved. Like that's it. So it was a money mindset thing, and I had a at the time I was telling people, because I don't know what happened. I feel like I just woke up one day and my mind changed. But I was reading a lot of self-improvement books and listening to a lot of podcasts, and listening to a lot of entrepreneur motivational speakers and stuff like that. And over time, over a few months, it probably just subconsciously sank in my head. But then I felt like it was like one day I woke up and everything changed. Um, and you can go back on my older YouTube videos from December of 2015, or I'm making videos about you got to get shit done, and how to stay motivated, and how to crush your goals, and how to do all. And it was awesome because that's where my head was at. And 2016 was, and the whole year 2016 was my best financial year, despite overcoming, like I said earlier, in April, my dog had passed away, and I was just in a weird place, and my father got sick and not healthy, and just weird place mentally, and not able to focus. But either way, I still had this very driven, go-getter, hard, and I can't feel sorry. I got to keep going. I got to take action, and I have no time for emotions. I have no time for this. I had this personality where I had to just go, 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 go. And what got put on the back burner was myself and my healthy eating habits and my training. And I stopped going to the gym. I stopped working out. I was eating bad. And all I was focused on was the growth of the business. So despite me getting a ton of brand new equipment, this is all 2016, renovating the gym, just redoing a bunch of stuff, and best financial year ever, a ton of new clients, a ton of new stuff. Still not enough, or not nearly enough social media. I mean, just nothing like this, no videos, just very sporadic, very inconsistent, and couldn't stay on track. I could not stay focused. I could not stay on the plan and on the path to what I know I needed to do. And that thought, and that feeling of not living up to my potential, and not doing what I need to do as a business owner to create this legacy and this dream that I have in my head of wanting to spread this message to everybody, and telling everyone that knowledge is power, and if you know how to do it, and if you know how food works with your body, and how exercise does to your body, and the science behind it, it has to be done. This is what makes life life. Like, we are meant to move. We are meant to eat good food. We are meant to feel good and be active. But I wasn't still able to get that message to as many people as able to, because of still the bullshit hangups, the social media, the anxiety, whatever bullshit and emotional repression from my past, and all this stuff that I still hadn't taken the time to be self-reflective, and taken the time to be mindful of where my head was at. So 2016, awesome year financially, on it. Still, at the end of the year, was able to get presents this year, was able to do it, but at the end of the year, looking back, still not satisfied, still not fulfilled, still not consistent, still not doing anywhere near what I need to be doing with social media, still not reaching the amount of people that I want to reach, and still know that I have these ideas and these thoughts, and I have all this information and knowledge accrued that I want to share with people, but something was still holding me back from getting out into the world and sharing that with people. Sorry, I'm burping a little bit. But I didn't it just wasn't fulfilling for me, despite it being the best financial year for me by a long shot. So and then I took a step back and I thought to myself, well, what's changed? What's changed? What's different from what I've done my whole life? Why am I not focused? Why am I unhappy?